Hello, everyone. I'm Faith, and this is the Vida English Podcast. Welcome to the Vida English Podcast. You're listening to Language Stories. Language Stories is a series where listeners learn specific English skills through simple personal stories. In each episode, I'll focus on a different part of language as I tell my story. This podcast is for people who have a basic understanding of English, but want to improve their fluency. Today, we're going to learn all about how to use future progressive tense as I tell you about my plans for fall 2022. Summer is coming to an end, and fall is just around the corner. When we say something is just around the corner, it means it's about to happen in the very near future. So, since fall is just around the corner, students will be heading back to school to learn, and teachers will be heading back to school to teach. This fall, I'm actually going to be acting as a teacher and as a student. I took the summer off from teaching, but next week I'll be starting classes up again. I'm excited to see my students again and to get back into a routine. I'm also going to be a student this fall. I'll be taking a writing course from September 29th till December 1st. I'm really looking forward to it. It will be fun to be a student again, even though it's for a short time. I hope my students will learn a lot this fall, and I hope I'll learn a lot too. What about you? Will you be going back to school this fall? Or have you finished your days as a student? Whatever you do, I hope autumn 2022 will be a good one for you. Did you notice how I used the words fall and autumn interchangeably? In English, these words are both used to describe the season between summer and winter. Canadians and Americans tend to use the word fall most often to describe this season. But in British English, the word autumn is preferred. Besides summer, fall is my favorite season. I love all the harvest vegetables. I love the warm days and cool nights. And like I mentioned before, I love getting back into a routine after the busyness of summer. What about you? What is fall like in your country? Do you like this season? Do you have this season in your country? Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend if you are in Canada or the United States. And if you have a fall or autumn season in your country, I hope it's a great one. In the story I just told, I used future progressive many times. Let's look at the 4 different ways I used this verb tense. Number 1, to talk about 2 activities that will be continuing in the future at the same time. Example, soon students will be heading back to school to learn, and teachers will be heading back to school to teach. In this example, I'm talking about 2 things that are happening simultaneously at the same time in the future. In the fall, students go back to school and they'll be learning, and teachers go back to school and they'll be teaching. So I use future progressive to talk about these activities that will begin in the future and will continue in the future at the same time. Number 2, to use with a time marker when talking about an activity that will be continuing in the future. Example, I took the summer off from teaching, but next week I'll be starting classes up again. So the time marker in this example is next week. Next week is when classes will be starting up again, and they will continue on in the future probably until summer break 2023. So this is another example of when we would use future progressive. Number 3, to sound more polite or softer when asking a question. Example, will you be going back to school this fall? So this is an ultra polite, sensitive way of asking this question. If you said, are you going back to school this fall? It's not necessarily rude, especially depending on the tone, but it's not as soft or gentle or polite as using future progressive. Will you be going back to school this fall? It's usually said in that tone, it kind of rises up, but it's just a very gentle and polite way of asking. You might hear this at a restaurant. Will you be staying for dessert? Will you be staying for the live music? It's a very polite way of asking a question. Number 4, to talk about a situation or activity that will continue for a period of time in the future. Example, I'll be taking a writing course from September 29th till December 1st. So I'm talking about a very specific time period. The writing course starts September 29th and it finishes on December 1st. During that time period, I will be taking a writing course. So when we're talking about something that will continue with a start date and an end date in the future, we use future progressive. Now it's your turn to practice. I want to give you a chance to practice using future progressive. Try to answer these questions. Say your answers out loud. Remember to use future progressive. Question number 1. Imagine you're hosting a party. You want to ask your friend if she'll be attending. What is a polite way to ask your friend if she'll be coming to your party? Question number 2. What will you be doing this fall? Will you be going back to school? Question number 3. What will you be doing during the second week of September? So from September 11th until September 17th, what will you be doing? Question number 4. Tomorrow, while you're working or studying or doing whatever you do, what will your best friend be doing? Thanks for tuning in to the Vita English podcast. Tune in to the next episode of Language Stories to learn present perfect tense. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas for future episodes, or if you'd like information on taking one-on-one online English language classes, email me at info@vitaenglish.ca. See you next time.